So I'm going to do today's weekly tarot reading, and I'm going to talk about an interesting topic. I'm going to talk about the law of attraction, and I'm going to talk about like what's going on like with the Christian churches, the prosperity gospel, which is a huge thing right now. This is the big churches. Obviously, Joel Osteen in Texas is a big, huge one. How this is becoming a thing. It's kind of like the prosperity gospel has integrated the law of attraction into it, of ways to attract. Everything is about abundance. Everything is about abundance. And abundance is a great thing, and spirit will give abundance to people. Definitely, they will do that. But there is, when it comes to law of attraction, the secret was a big thing, right? I want you to kind of look at the secret. Okay, this was very much a play of the law of attraction. All these teachers that were pretty wealthy were sitting there talking to you about how to attract abundance, the law of attraction. If you, sit there and you think real hard on certain things and set your intent, you will manifest anything you want, anything you desire. It'll just appear. If you really want $1,000, if you think real hard, you really believe it, you send it out to the universe, you're going to go into your mailbox and find that $1,000, various things like that. And this is very contrary to, some of the older teachings, even in Christianity or other faiths, especially even Buddhism, about letting go of attachments, letting go of all that. Jesus was not rich, right? But yet everybody is talking about, Jesus making him rich. And it's just a bastardization of the law of attraction, and even the gospel itself. Let me read something from, I've got a few scriptures to kind of prove my point, how it works, which is really good. Mark 12:41 to 44. Okay, so this is the one about the widow. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out all of their wealth. They gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." There is a story that I read years ago, and it's a true story. It's about an African-American woman. She was older, like the widow, when she was probably a widow herself. And she had worked all her life cleaning houses, all her life. And she saved a lot of money. So she gets into her retirement age, she's about 70s, maybe 80. And she accumulated $100,000. Okay, that's a lot of money. That's a good chunk of change that she could sit there and retire on very comfortably and live out the rest of her life. She took that money, every bit of it, every bit of her money, and she put it into scholarships for African American students so they could go to college. All of it. I see that is what Jesus is talking about. Okay, that kind of level of giving. So do you see how this kind of giving of the Spirit is very contrary to things like the prosperity gospel that they are teaching? And really, they're teaching it to you only to take your money. The secret people were only selling you the secret so they could get rich off of it themselves. Do you see the deception here? It's just not the way the law of attraction works. And it's not the way the Spirit works. The Spirit is trying to teach people to let go of attachments. It's easier for, or it's harder for, or it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Did Jesus not say that? So we want to let go. It's really important to let go of things like that, that the Holy Spirit, you could say, is the genie in the bottle. And if you rub it, you get what you want. That's just not the way the Spirit works. And I feel like people deep down know that this is some wrong teachings. I feel like they deep down know that. But at the same time, we sit here, we don't want to be poor, obviously. we do want abundance in our life. We want to be able to pay our bills. We want to be able, maybe have a nice car and certain things. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a comfortable life. But I feel like people get into a greedy mindset, and that's where they start trying to abuse certain spiritualities to be able to accumulate wealth. But it is kind of funny, there are some teachers, the Joel Osteens, the Kenneth Copelands, the various that are teaching this prosperity gospel only to get rich themselves, okay? And they've accumulated a ridiculous amount of wealth. They've got mansions and jets and all kinds of things. And I remember talking to a pastor many years ago when I was young, when I was talking about some of these pastors that are filthy rich. And he did bring up, Jesus said, easier for a camel to get through an eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. Maybe Spirit is kind of making it hard on them to get into heaven by giving them all this because he knows their heart. And I kind of sat there and I'm like, you got a good point. You got a good point, okay? Let's read another one. And this is another real important one. Luke 6:38. Given it will be given to you. A good measure pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So this is the real secret of everything, is you don't get anything for free. Okay? And you may, maybe you can manipulate the law of attraction, but whatever you get, it is going to be very empty. It's never going to be enough. And that's one of the things people need to understand. Accumulate, I got this wealth. I was able to get the car I wanted. I was able to go to that trip in the Bahamas and everything. And then they kind of sit there, and after they've got everything they want, they're very unfulfilled and they're very empty because they weren't looking for the right things to fill that void, which is really about the Spirit. We want to fill the void with the Spirit first, which is real important. And then, as far as the giving and receiving, this is the thing about the giving, which kind of we need to understand. When we give, we don't want to also be in a position, which is really critical, that I'm only giving so I can receive back. Okay, that's another thing people do. I will give in hopes that I will receive back. We want to kind of change our mindset and so forth, that it's better to give than to receive, right? That's what we want to do. Let's just be the givers. And if anything happens that is, I get prosperity or this or that, wonderful. I will thank the Spirit. But you know what? If it doesn't happen and I'm still kind of struggling and going through certain things, I will accept that as my lot. And that's one of the things I've kind of learned with Spirit is that, I will accept my lot. If I'm not meant to, have all these great things, and maybe I'm going to have to struggle in my retirement days, I will just accept my lot for that. But it's not going to stop me being giver Spirit. I will still do your work, and I'm going to still give in areas that I possibly can. And there's one more I'm going to read. Acts 20, is that right? Acts 20:35. In everything I did, I showed you that by this kind of hard work, we must help the weak. Remembering the words the Lord Jesus himself said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Now, think about that. It is more blessed. You are actually more blessed as a giver than one receiving. Okay? And the blessings may not come necessarily in prosperity. They may come in other ways. They may come in other ways that are not monetary. And that's what people need to understand. You get blessings in other ways. Maybe you'll have great health. Maybe, whatever Spirit wants to bless you with. And just accept that. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you. And just accept that. And so it's really important to let this go, because it's only going to lead to a situation where, it's going to be harder to get into the kingdom of heaven. If it's all about abundance and prosperity to you. We want to look at, okay, I'm not going to look at what I can get out of everything. What ways can I give? What ways can I give to others? Even if it's just your time, even if it's just your time to help people, to counsel them, to give them guidance. or whatever you can. But yes, if you see a situation where somebody, maybe you see that GoFundMe on Facebook and someone's really struggling, give, various ways like that. I just drew the Nine of Air, which is the sleepless night. So I know a lot of reasons people ask for abundance and so forth is because they're worried about expecting the worst, that everything's going to fall apart. I know a lot of people are in that position right now, where they're kind of looking at, some people are looking at eviction in this country, right? Or their jobs. They just lost their jobs and various things. So of course they want the abundance, but they're not necessarily asking to be rich. They're not asking for a mansion. They just want to get by. So Spirit, one of the things I have learned is, of course we ask Spirit for help, but Spirit knows what we need. So, they will take care of you. And as I'm talking about abundance, I drew the Ace of Earth as I was saying that. And look what it says, the inflow of abundance. Promising business venture, important documents, contract, but the inflow of abundance. Okay? But what is abundance to you, and what is abundance to, say, Joel Osteen, may be different to me. Okay? What is abundance? What really is it? Is it about being rich, or is it about Spirit is providing what I need? Just like Spirit, when we talk about the lilies of the field, Spirit provides for the lilies of the field. Spirit will provide for you. If you need clothes, Spirit will provide. If you need a home, Spirit will provide. And we have to know that in our heart. Spirit is going to take care of us. But Spirit also works through people. So when you see situations, say the atheist says, okay, there's God, why is there starving children in Africa? The answer to that is this. There's all these people in prosperous countries that have the ability to feed Africa. The problem is they don't. Spirit has given other places and peoples various wealth, hoping that they would do that, right? Hoping they would feed these nations, hoping they would take care of certain people and help them. And there are some people that do go, some churches that are good churches that do go to Africa. Obviously, yes, they want to spread the gospel, but they do feed people and they do take care of them and they do try to help these villages. So they are getting in there, and there are people that are trying to do that. But yes, we have to kind of look at, define abundance. What is it? What is it to Spirit, and what is it to you? And I just drew the King of Earth. Okay, and one of the things is the King is generous. The King of Earth is generous, and even the description, generous, professional, responsible, practical, generous. Okay, we want to be generous with ourselves. We can't sit there with this mindset as spiritualists, and it's all about, what abundance can I get for myself? That, that's not that Jesus is trying to teach. Okay, it's not about that. It's better to give. This is a being who said, drop all your possessions, and follow me, and then we've got these prosperity teachers, right? That are all about, they're not dropping possessions, they're accumulating them. Isn't it crazy? It's crazy. And then we've got the card unity. And one of the things is giving unites. Giving unites, and it helps others. And another thing about giving, is that it's a way of doing Spirit's work. Spirit wants that. Okay, you see that GoFundMe, okay? Spirit is talking to you. I want you to help that person. We got to really listen when that happens and so forth. Maybe you do see that homeless man. Well, you've got that $5 in your wallet, right? What do you need it for? Give it to him. Give it to him. Don't sit there and judge him. Oh, maybe he's a drug addict, or oh, maybe he just doesn't want to work. Give it to him. You don't know. You don't know. But for some reason, you will get that nudge. You will get that nudge from the Spirit to help people. And it's real important to listen to the call. And one of the things is I just drew the moon. So especially that can be about deception. Okay? And that is what the moon can be in tarot. There's a lot of deception going on, guys. And we as spiritualists cannot become corrupt by certain deception that is going on. because that is, there. And I was watching a show last night just on it, how, some Christians are waking up in these prosperity gospel churches, and they're realizing, no, this is not the teaching. I know this is wrong in my heart. This thing about accumulating wealth and stuff and possessions. Jesus was poor. The disciples were poor. They had nothing. They had nothing but the Spirit and a message. That's all they had. That's all they had. So don't fall into these deceptions when it comes to the law of attraction. That, if you sit there and you set your intent, or you burn your candles and so forth, manifestation does work. Yes, it does. Do not get me wrong. But the intent, we want to have a pure intent if we can. Okay, say you want that job. There's nothing wrong with wanting that job. Do not get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with sending it out to the universe, with sending it to the Spirit, and to be able to take care of your needs. But it's especially, we just don't want to be selfish, and we don't want to sit there and be abusing, the law of attraction. The Spirit is not the genie in the lamp, okay? It's not about just wishes. I see this is a big deception. It's not about just fulfilling wishes. That's not the core teaching of the Spirit. The Spirit is especially about giving. What can you give up? What can you let go of? And I just drew the Empress. Lavish abundance. Lavish abundance. But what is abundance? And that's why, look at what you have. One of the things that is a big lesson of the Spirit is gratitude. Okay, instead of, I need this, I need that. Spirit, I can't pay my rent. What you gonna do for me? Kind of look at, what do I have? We want to thank the Spirit for what we have. Okay, I am able to pay my rent. Thank you so much for that. I have food in the fridge. Thank you for that. I was able to afford that haircut. Whatever it may be, just the simple things that you do have, thank the Spirit. Because every little bit that you have comes from Spirit. And you can say, no, I worked for it. Who got you the job? Okay, Spirit. Thank Spirit for everything you have. It's real important. That is, the way to abundance. Imagine, getting, all this stuff and never saying thank you. Never saying thank you and appreciating. And there are a lot of people that do that. I need this, genie in the lamp. I need this, and never appreciate what they have. And I just drew for the 7 of air, like we're talking about the moon. Okay? The deception, the betrayal. Spirit knows what people are going to do, because they know everything. But, it is a betrayal of the teachings of so forth. This sneaky stuff, what they are doing, with this, going very contrary to teachings. Like, for instance, some of the prosperity teachers, the televangelists you see on TV, they know that scripture of the widow, giving all. And they will sit there, and they may even use that scripture against the people that are watching, that, hey, that's better that you give everything you have. Give it to me. And that's, Spirit doesn't like dirty, and that's what people need to understand. So I just drew the 5 of water. And that's what, kind of sitting there and mourning over what I lost. That is what it is. It's about mourning a loss. Things not turning out the way you hope, not seeing the positive in a situation, crying over spilt milk. That's what the 5 of water is about. So it's especially about looking at, what I don't have, what I've lost. I lost my job, or the tax man came and garnished all my wages, or focusing on what I don't have and what I've lost and the position I'm in, and not being happy and not seeing the upside of a situation. And that's a big one. But what do I have? What do I still have remaining? One of the things, can you at least appreciate that you have a connection to Spirit that has not been broken, that you do have them in your life? That is the biggest thing we've got, is that connection to Spirit, to be able to have that love, that guidance, that they are going to guide you into the right direction. We're all in a trajectory. We all want to get to a good place, right? All of this is lessons, and we got to pass our test. It's so important. So looking at the positive in a situation is really important. People focus on what they don't have, but they don't focus on what they do have. They don't see the abundance in that. And then I just drew the Queen of Earth. So we're talking a lot about, the earthly and everything like that. And another thing, just as the king is generous, so is the queen, and so forth. See, this is the thing. It's the givers will attract abundance in their own way. Can I put it that way? Is that one of the best ways I could put it? The givers attract abundance in their own way, and that they are satisfied with what they have. There are people who they may be at poverty level, but they sit there and it's like, but I have this and I have that, but I've got spirit, and I've got everything I need. I've got all that love in my life, or they worked real hard, with their families and giving that love and raising up, great children, or, just like you have the parent that struggles and struggles all their life to put those kids through college and do things. And maybe they don't have a lot, but they're like, thank you that my kids, I got them to college. Thank you for giving me what I needed to be able to do that, for my family. And what's the final card? The Magician, the Manifester. Yep, there's a lot of manifestation. But one of the things is, he is all about intent. He is all about intent, and he is all about manifestation. But he is also about as above, so below, bringing heaven to earth, especially is what he is, and that magical life. But really, we want to have a pure intent when we're sending out that which we want to manifest. And that's a little bit what I'm trying to teach you guys with some of those scriptures, to get in alignment with the way of the spirit, which the way it should be done the right way. You're not going to be able to manifest, certain things in your life if you're always a taker. I guess this is one of the biggest things. If I can get that message out, you don't get something for nothing. You just don't. Spirit really looks at the givers, the ones who give selflessly, though. It can't just be, like I gave the example of the GoFundMe. You know what? I'm going to donate to that GoFundMe $50, and I, in hopes that Spirit's going to bless me and reward me. See, we've got to even let that go. We've got to let that go. If we're going to manifest, we got to manifest in the right way. We have to do it in a selfless way. Sometimes what I do, I don't really, at this stage in my life, ask much from the Spirit. I really try not to. It's not a genie in a bottle. It's not a genie in a bottle. That's not what Spirit is about. But I try, with my own personal self, to sit back and go, Spirit, you know what I need. You know what I need to get by my day-to-day activities and get through my life and get through my year and everything. You know what I need. It doesn't mean I don't ever go to Spirit and ask, especially if I see a situation, maybe somebody came into my group and they need a healing or something, I'm certainly, Spirit, we need, this to happen, things like that. Absolutely. But for things in my own personal world, I kind of feel like Spirit knows what I need. But if there is something I do need, of course I'm going to try to manifest that. I'm going to go to the Spirit. But I'm also going to look at, is there something I need to exchange? Is there something I, need to maybe sacrifice or give in some capacity to be able to manifest what I really need? But don't fall. This is the main message I really want to get to you guys. It's so important, like we talked a lot about manifestation and abundance. Spirit, I feel like Spirit does love to bless, loves to bless, and everything. And, and even sometimes, you'll see these rich pastors, and I know you're sitting there like, what's going on? And everything like that. And it's so sad to see that deception, the moon, the deception. But, at the same time, I see it that Spirit's given them enough rope to hang themselves. Okay, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They may be living large and living life to the fullest and getting everything they want, but Spirit, what I see is handing them all that rope, okay? Because every dog has his day. Every dog is his day. So I want you to kind of think on that. Whatever you need to manifest, if you're in a situation right now and you lost your job and you're like, I really need another job, and absolutely, not only, of course, go to Spirit and ask for help. Spirit does, listen to us, absolutely. But also look in, what can I possibly put on the table? What can I, as that widow, that is all I got, what can I give to the Spirit in some way? How can I be that way, to the point where Spirit is like, that's amazing. That's because that's what, Jesus blessed that widow. They did, right? So that is one of the keys, if I could teach you that lesson, is in what way can I be like that widow and give? In what way can I be like the African American lady who saved up all this money to be able to give to others so many students could go to college? Look at that way, because that ultimately, in its way, leads to abundance. Hope this helps.